glasses on the left.
Right where my name is.
Right by your chin. That makes it easy to mirror. Good morning. No, it really is a good morning. Good morning. Look at the sun. It's not too hot yet. Yes. Welcome to Kitsap Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whoever you are and wherever you come from, for this hour, we here are one gathered congregation and all are welcome. Please rise now in body or spirit to join in singing our musical call to worship. Gather the Spirit. It's hymn number 347 in our gray hymnal. Should be on the screens too. Hello again. My name's Mac Johnson. I use he, his pronouns. You'll have to bear with me. We've made a bunch of edits in the script here, and I'm reading off my messy handwriting. I have a white beard and some hair that's whitening and following the beard. My hair also hides my hearing aid wires. Today I'm wearing a yellow plaid shirt. And in honor of Johnny Cash and our beloved elder Ted Johnsrud, I'm wearing black pants. My spouse Lisa and I have been here at KUF for decades now. We raised our son Isaac here at KUF. We have taken on various roles, large and small, for over 30 years now. This place is one of our homes. Today our guest speaker is Zelda Foxall, a regular visitor here. She has been a professional storyteller since 1995. She is known for her portrayals of historically significant African American women and how they have overcome tremendous odds of poverty, racism, sexism, and ignorance, especially ignorance, to climb to the top of their respective fields or just step up boldly to change the way things were. But for this presentation, she will step forward to tell her own story of change. If you're visiting this morning, please participate as you feel comfortable. If you're here in person, fidget toys and a rocking chair are available for wiggling people and sensory needs, and we have assisted listening systems available. If you need one of these listening systems, please see one of the ushers. Also, you're invited to stay and meet people during coffee hour. Many members of our congregation participate online. I can see you all. If you're visiting online today, you're welcome to introduce yourself in the chat box. We would like to explain a new system of daily announcements and calendar events. There is now, starting last week, there is now a new insert in the order of service, and it includes announcements for today and this week, and it also includes a bunch of calendar items for the whole week. So for those of you who do read the candle, it's a bit of an overlap. For those of you who don't, it's something to take with you when you go home. So now I'm going to read the announcements that were scheduled for today. First of all, please share your talents with KUF. Fill out the volunteer survey in the foyer. Take a little job. You'll never have to take the big ones. Okay, on the service, after the service today, on the deck is the wonderful farmers market. Look at the produce people have been in, take some, make a donation. It feels good. It's a lot of good stuff out there. Cooks of KUF, people who have brought things to the fellowship. If you're missing items, please browse the kitchen equipment on the breezeway. Take home your items, or if you find something you like, please make a donation to the farmers market and take them home too. I was wondering where our green bowl was. Leftovers will be donated to a charity. So please check out the farmers market and see if you have any cookware there. Today, the Social Justice Committee will have a preview booth for the July 19th Kitsap Pride Fest. Check it out, sign up for a shift at the festival, come get a strawberry flavored gluten-free side with love lollipop. That's if you visit the social justice table outside afterwards. You don't have to sign up for anything, but you can. Also, after the service today, we have adult education at 11:45 a.m. Today's topic is a brief survey of the pagan religions landscape. And we have another guest speaker, Dennis Seenan Kimbra, she, they, a 40-plus year pagan of the, wow, I love this. She's a 40-plus year pagan of the polytheist, pantheist, devotional, reconstructionalist flavor. In this presentation, this isn't as easy as we make it look. In this presentation, Seenan will answer questions about paganism and earth-based religions. Many of us follow that to some degree. This sounds like a great presentation. I think that's all for the announcements today. Thank you, and please look at this during the week. It's very, very useful. Let's now take a moment to silence these things. Right, got it? You don't need to be monitoring things for the next hour. Please join me in taking a few centering breaths, about 3. And now we'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the Aboriginal territory of the Suquamish people, expert fishermen, canoe builders, and basket weavers. The Suquamish live and have lived in harmony with the lands and waterways along Washington's Central Salish Sea, as they have for thousands of years. Here the Suquamish live and protect the land of waters of their ancestors for future generations, as promised by the Point Elliott Treaty of 1855. have some opening words for us here from Mahatma Gandhi. If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. Join me now in lighting our chalice. If you have your own chalice or candle at home, please light it as I read our chalice lighting words from Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Please join me in our spoken affirmation. The words will appear on the screen. We gather as a caring community, seeking life's deeper meanings. We value diversity and affirm the worth of all living things. We strive to speak truth in love, to act for justice, to grow in spirit, and to care for the earth. We celebrate with open hearts and minds the creative power that sustains and transforms us. Beautiful. Now please rise in body or in spirit to join in singing hymn number 1007. There's a river flowing in my soul in the teal hymnal.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
Good morning. I think the order of service might say Liz Roberts, but I'm Melinda Hughes. I'm the Director of Lifespan Faith Formation, and I will be sharing a story with you this morning. The children are participating in a program this summer called Can Do Summer. Today they're going to be looking at paper airplanes, I believe. So the story is Ready to Soar by Corey Dorfeld. Riley was ready to try something new, to take a chance, and hopefully to watch it take off. 3, 2, 1. Stop! The eagle cried. That will never get off the ground. Riley was surprised. It won't? The eagle spread its wings wide. I rule the sky because I'm large and in charge. Trust me, it needs to be bigger. Riley got out more paper. I can fix that. Soon Riley was ready. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, the parrot squawked. That won't go very far. Why not? Riley asked. The parrot flaunted its feathers. Only the best and brightest can rise above the rest. Don't you see? It needs to be fancier. Riley took out some markers. I'll get to work. Now Riley was ready. 3, 2, 1. Sorry, the falcon screeched. That isn't headed for success. It isn't? Riley held tight. The falcon streaked by beak first. To reach the top, you must know how to make swift decisions. So think quick. It needs to be faster. Okay, Riley started running. 3, 2, 1. But the birds just kept coming. Honk! To fit the bill, it needs to be longer. Tweet! To get a leg up, it needs to be taller. Face the facts, it needs to be slurp stronger. Chirp slimmer. Whoo, smarter. To ever fly as high as us, it needs to be better. Crash. Riley was ready to go in a different direction, to start fresh, and to find the courage to try one more time. 3, 2, 1. Wait! The penguin shouted, "Not yet!" Riley wasn't ready for more advice. Woo, you got this! The penguin clapped its flippers. I just didn't want to miss it. Riley could hardly believe it. Really? Woo, of course, the penguin cheered. I think there's nothing cooler than celebrating when someone else takes off. Riley began to smile. It just needs one final touch. At last, Riley was ready to make the perfect kind of change, to finally, 3, 2, woo, take off, and to watch it soar together. So in the week and days ahead, I hope all of you, children and adults alike, get the chance to try something new and to encourage each other and watch each other take off.
And now it's time for our weekly offering and gift of music. As a religious community, together we can do the work of many. By sharing in the sacred act of giving, we transform gratitude into generosity towards our mission. One way that our mission inspires us to act on our shared values of UUism is to share our weekly offering with a local nonprofit agency providing services within our community. Our charitable giving recipient for the month of July is Bremerton Food Line. Now, for this offering, if you'd like the offering to go to this month's charitable giving recipient, Bremerton Food Line, please use the envelope from inside your order of service. If you need an envelope, raise your hand. The ushers can get you one. There's one right there. One envelope needed. If you'd like your offering to go to KUUF, please put it directly in the basket. Instructions on other ways to make your gift, including a QR code, will be on the screen. And now, let there be an offering to strengthen and sustain our beloved community with a gift of music from our music coordinator, Brian Kenny. We'll Understand It Better by and by Charles Albert Lindley.
We are tossed and driven on this restless sea of time. Somber skies and howling tempests all succeed a bright sunshine. In that land of perfect day, when the mists have rolled away, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God are gathered home, we'll tell the story of how we've overcome, for we'll understand it better by and by. We are often destitute of the thing that life demands, want of food and want of shelter, thirsty fields and barren lands. But we're trusting in the Lord, and according to God's word, we will understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God are gathered home, we'll tell the story of how we've overcome, for we'll understand it better by and by. Trials dark on every hand, and we cannot understand all the ways that God would lead us to that blessed promised land. But He guides us with His eye, and we'll follow till we die, for we'll understand it better by and by. By and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God are gathered home, we'll tell the story of how we've overcome, for we'll understand it better by and by. Temptations, hidden snares, often take us unawares, and our hearts are made to plead for a thoughtless word or deed. And we wonder why the test when we try to do our best. But we'll understand it better by and by. I'm singing by and by, when the morning comes, when the saints of God are gathered home, we'll tell the story of how we've overcome, for we'll understand it better by and by. For we'll understand it better by and by. For we'll understand it better by and by.
Thank you, Tiffany and Brian. And now let's please rise in body or in spirit to join in singing our children up to their classes. The words for "May You Go with Joy" will appear on the screens. Now is the time for our joys and sorrows. When shared together, our joys are amplified and our sorrows lessened. We have only two today. One was submitted online in advance. That can be done. There's also sheets in the foyer. This is a sorrow from Diane Stewart. She says, "My Aunt Barbie is in the hospital and needs healing prayers. Thank you all." And this is only being submitted right now. This is from me and my wife, Lisa. We've been spending a lot more time with our children and grandchildren. It's been really special. And we light one last candle for those joys and sorrows that are still too tender to share. Now, please join me in a moment of prayer or intention. In the spirit of community in which we find strength and common purpose, we share our joys, our sorrows, our hopes, and our dreams. We've turned our minds and hearts towards one another in trust, giving love, seeking comfort, and celebrating together. We are part of the web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. In all the moments of our lives, for those loved ones and events shared this morning, and for those we yet hold in the silence of our hearts, we are truly grateful for the love and support of this beloved community. May the spirit of life and love bring peace to us all. Amen. Blessed be. Now, please remain seated while we sing the congregational response, Spirit of Life, hymn number 123. Now, please let's all join in a moment of reflection, followed by our post-reflection music.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me home.
Good morning, church. Good morning. And let me describe myself for the audience that is not in the room with us. My name is Zelda Foxall. Can you hear me now? Yes. Good, okay. My name is Zelda Foxall. I'm African American. I have glasses. I have a headband. I go by the pronouns she, her, and I have on a bright orange dress. You can't miss me. I'm very happy to be here with you. I'm always happy to come here. Such a great, warm audience, great group of people, and I feel very welcomed here. I usually come to you as someone else. But today, I'm coming as Zelda. I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you today, and I want to do that by taking you back to the year 1968, quite a while ago. That was a very eventful, yet very bittersweet year. Let me just share some of the things that happened in 1968. We had the first manned mission to orbit the Earth, Apollo 8. We had the first Black woman to be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, Shirley Chisholm. In 1968, we had the Olympics, where we had 2 Black athletes who had won medals at the Olympics raise their fists in a Black Power salute. We had the assassinations of Dr. King and Robert F. Kennedy. There was the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, and that was the turning point in the war in Vietnam. And lastly, we had the violence between the anti-protesters and the police at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Very eventful on a national level for all of us. But for me, in 1968, there was a personal event that was really big for me and my community. In 1968, 14 years after Brown v. Board of Education, the federal government notified specific school districts in the state of Texas that you will desegregate your schools. And my school, as I knew it, would be closed. Now let me lay some background for you. I lived in Dallas, Texas, in a community called Hamilton Park. It was the first planned community for Black residents because there was a housing shortage for Blacks. And the city fathers got together. It was pretty serious, so they got together and they built Hamilton Park. They built it on the border between Dallas and a small community called Richardson. It was a community of 750 to 800 homes. We were enclosed in that community. We had our own school, we had our own church, and a shopping center. And we basically lived within those confines. Now, we learned in the spring of 1968 that our school would be closing. Our school was named after the community, Hamilton Park. Because we were the only school in an all-white school district, because we were on the border, we weren't close enough to go to any Dallas schools, we were closer to Richardson. So we were the only black school in an all-white school district. And since there was only one school, we went from first grade to 12th grade. So we knew everybody really well. We were family. So that was, we'd heard rumors that they would close the school, but we'd heard those for years. But finally, it was happening. And it was big. The move was in 2 stages. The first stage, the year 1968, 1969, they would integrate the faculty. So we, for the first time in our lives, had white faculty, and our black faculty went to some of the different schools in the Richardson School District. I was taking chemistry. That was my junior year. And I knew that there were some differences in the schools. I mean, you hear things. But I got a really good idea of how different the schools were when my chemistry teacher, Mr. M.G., he was one of the white faculty that came over, and he walked into the chemistry lab, and he said, "I'm supposed to teach you chemistry with this? There's nothing here to work with. You've had other classes take chemistry? There's nothing here." So Mr. M.G. ended up spending some of his own money trying to build up the lab, and he did a great job of shaming the Richardson School District to give us some more things to help us learn chemistry. He did a fantastic job. I will always remember Mr. M.G. But there were 2 particular people at the school, one a counselor and one a teacher, that really, they stand out today in my mind. And these people, these 2 people, were there when the school started in 1958, and they were there when the school closed in 1969. The first person that I remember very well, her name was Mrs. Vivian T. Starks. Mrs. Starks was the counselor. Mrs. Starks was a tall woman, very light-skinned. If you didn't know, she could easily pass for white. She had very straight, dark hair. She was a very cold person. She was stern, she was dour, she rarely smiled. And we rarely approached her, even though she was the counselor. And Mrs. Starks, when she learned, like all of us, that the school would finally be closed and that we would be bused to different schools, she had a very interesting response. All of a sudden, our counselor, Mrs. Starks, started a campaign about maybe you students aren't ready. Maybe you students won't do well at these new schools. Maybe you don't have what it takes. I don't know how a lot of my classmates took that, but for me, to hear that over and over, I began to have a few doubts, even though I was on the honor roll. I had won poetry interpretation competitions. I was in the drama club. I was a member of the youth chapter of the NAACP, and I'd given my first political speech, the Battle of the Ballot, when I was 13 years old. But even with that, just to hear my counselor voice no encouragement to us. And I started to think, why is she doing this? Why is she saying this? Why does she believe this? But on the other hand, there was another person that I remember. He was a teacher, a science teacher, and he was an industrial arts teacher. And his name was Mr. Love. And he was everything that that name implies. Mr. Love was so encouraging. He had a soft voice, he had a soft mannerism, but he loved his students and he believed in us. And during the process, 1969-70 was the year that we would be bused to different schools. What they did, they divided our neighborhood of 750 to 800 homes in half. And it was the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades that would be bused to the two different high schools in the Richardson School District. So half of us went to Richardson High School, and the other half were bused to Lake Highlands. First time we'd ever been apart. But Mr. Love went over to Lake Highlands and offered his services to help with the transition. He wanted it to be smooth, and his efforts were welcomed by the Lake Highlands School. So he worked with them, and then he came back to us, and he said, look. And he was the only one working at Lake Highlands. They had another teacher working at Richardson, which I don't know what happened there. But Lake Highlands was the school that I was assigned to. And Mr. Love came back and he said, the school is opening its doors to us. I was told by the principal that you can feel free to go in and try out for any office you want, because we were losing so much breaking up our school that way. We had people who hoped to be valedictorian, a salutatorian, or a drill team captain, homecoming queen, all those things you dream about in your senior year. We weren't going to necessarily have that because we would have a different school. But this new school said, in spite of that, everything's open. Come and try out. Well, that's it. Nice to know. And then Mr. Love said, yeah, so Zelda and Dewey was the other person that he was talking to. He said, so you two have been on the student council for 2 years. I think you've had enough experience. You've done very well. I think you should throw your hat in the ring for a student council position. And I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. He says, no. You offer, it's not about winning. It's about participating. They're inviting you, give back, get in. I had to think about that a bit, because I came from a school that was from 1st to 12th, 500 students or less. At Lake Highlands, their senior class was more than 500 people. And the school alone, it was 25 to 3,000 students, 2,500 to 3,000. It was huge. And you want me to do what? So I thought about it, did some research, and we found out that they had a position on their student council that we never had. It was the position of historian. I thought, well, that sounds interesting. What does the historian do? So Mr. Love said, well, let's go over and find out. So we made arrangements to meet with the current historian. She was so welcoming, and she showed me what she was doing. The whole purpose was to document the whole school year for the senior class. And so you dwelled on the highlights of what was happening, and then you put in writing and pictures so that everybody could have those memories. And I thought, this is pretty interesting, because here, this is historic. we are integrating the schools for the first time. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring for historian, and my friend, who was the treasurer for our student council, threw his hat in the ring for treasurer. We did our campaign flyers. That was easy. But then the day came where you had to go over to the school and you had to do a campaign speech. So it's about a 20-minute drive from our old school to Lake Highlands. That was the shortest drive ever. And Mr. Love was just trying to pump us up. You can do this, it's going to be great, you know. Zelda, you've given speeches, this is not new. So we got out of the car, we walked into the biggest auditorium I had ever seen. And all the students were piling in. They just kept coming in and coming in. The principal, Mr. Anderson, greeted us very warmly, and he briefly told us, he introduced us to the MC, he told us what would be happening, he gave us a program, and then he invited us to take our seats with the rest of the candidates. We got a chance to briefly say hello to them, but I'll tell you, I was out of it. I was so nervous. I'm sitting there on stage, and before me, a sea of white faces, because I had lived in Black world. This was a sea of white, friendly faces. So I'm sitting there, and honestly, I don't remember the campaign speeches of anybody else. I just remember finally hearing my name called. And I'm going, okay, it's showtime. You know how it is when you're nervous, when you're getting ready to speak? Your mouth gets dry, right? Your hands sweat. And I don't know about you, but my knees knocked. I was so nervous. But I did manage to get up to the podium. And I'm looking out at all those faces. And then finally, I see the face I most needed to see, Mr. Love. And he's sitting there and he's beaming, proud, looking like his face was like, you can do this, you can do this. So I took a deep breath. And then I started to open up my campaign speech that I had written out. And I started to speak. Now, I can't tell you what happened during all that time. I don't remember. The only thing I do remember was the sigh of relief I had when that speech was over and I was sitting back in my seat. So after the ceremony or the event was over, campaign, Mr. Anderson said that he would let us know within a week's time because the students would have to vote. And we'd know the outcome. I'm going, yeah, well, I'm not worried about that. I'm done. Mr. Love was persistent. He wouldn't take no for an answer. I did it. I did the speech. It's over. I'm going on, getting on with the rest of my life. Not really. Because a week later, we found out that both Dewey and I were going to be on the Lake Highlands Student Council. I couldn't believe it. Yes. So that whole spring, we kept taking trips back and forth to meet with the other students on the student council. And I'm here to tell you today, it was a great year. Those were great students. I get along with them today, and that's been over 50 years ago, and I'm in, one of the students lives in Queen Anne, and we get along. And I was only with them 1 year, but in that 1 year, we bonded. We had our mentor, Mr. Krieger, was about 10 years older than we were, so he was part of the group. And we all had a mission of doing the best job that we could at that student council. We ran a bookstore, we made a lot of money, we implemented a lot of the ideas that the students gave. We were highly successful. And one of the things I learned was that in the Richardson School District, for their other schools, they had this ritual where when you were elected student council, they had this statewide training session. So all of the students would go and get trained to be the best officers they could. We never had that at Hamilton Park, even though we were part of that school district. So I learned a lot. I met with people from all over the state. But the hard part of that whole thing was that not all of the other schools attending that training were accustomed or used to interacting with African Americans. That was a real challenge, but I must say it was a lesson in race relations for all of us. And I think Mr. Krieger took the time to explain and work with all of us on the student council to just see things, but move forward. We have something to do, and the training was outstanding. And so I guess what I wanted to say is that during that whole year, I learned so much, but I learned something that really has helped me throughout all the years of my life, and that is when I think back to Mrs. Starks, because I learned lessons from both Mrs. Starks and from Mr. Love. And what I learned from Mrs. Starks is that maybe her attitude was so negative because of she had not dealt with her fears, her struggles, her insecurities about integration. And maybe, just maybe, Mrs. Starks didn't have a Mr. Love in her life, one who was encouraging, causing her to dig deep, to believe in yourself, to work hard, and don't let other people make you doubt yourself. I don't think she learned that lesson. And to me, what I learned was if you don't deal with doubt and fear, if you don't deal with that, you may become that person. And I did not ever want to be a Mrs. Starks, but I have compassion for her, I understand her, and I am grateful that I had a Mr. Love who stepped forward and encouraged me to move forward, to throw my hat in the ring, to believe in myself, and to work hard to get it done. And so that's what I've used my entire life, not to be afraid to step into a new situation. It's the experience that counts and what you learn from it. And so as I end my presentation, I just want to leave you with this. There's a song, and some of you may be familiar with it. I can't sing it, so I'm just going to share the lyrics with you. But it's, you got to put one step in front of the other and lead with love. I know you're scared, and I'm scared too. But here I stand, right next to you. So that's my story of the makings of Zelda with Mr. Love and Mrs. Starks. Thank you. And now we will sing. It's hymn number 118. I think it's This Little Light of Mine. Very apropos.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. up a world. I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, let it shine.
Yay, humanity. Zelda, I just wanted to say, I've been listening to sermons and speeches here in the pulpit for decades. That was one of the most hopeful things I have heard in just ages and ages. It's making me rethink the entire civil rights movement. Think of the picture of the friendly white faces and of the principal. I'm a former teacher. It was so wonderful. And the principal who didn't have to welcome them but did. Anyway, that has put me in a good mood to enjoy some coffee, tea, and treats in the foyer after the service. You are all welcome to bring your refreshments back into the sanctuary for a quieter place to connect with each other. And as said before, please refer to the new handout of announcements and calendar items during your coming week. And now I would like to share our closing words and our chalice extinguishing. Thank you, Judy. Our closing words are by Elizabeth Sella Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we're together again.